Hi guys, it is Mika here, and today we will be diving in the fast-paced world of sports photography. I wanted to do this video right after I came back from Portugal about 1 month ago, but I was so busy with work and all the other stuff, so I'm here now, 1 month later, recording you this video. More specifically, I'm going to share my recent experiences from an adventure when I was in Portugal and I was shooting photos for Bootcamp Lagos. Now, this was my maiden voyage into shooting photos of high-action sports, and I must say that it was a real challenge for me. You can probably imagine me hopping around there like a bunny on a caffeine high, without even being sure how the composition was or did I even nail the exposure correctly. If you have any experience in shooting photos of high-action sports, I'm pretty sure you can relate to me. Sports photography can be tricky because it is so fast and unpredictable. I can imagine, for instance, weddings to be somewhat similar to shoot at. We as photographers usually make few common mistakes when we are shooting in these kind of events. So today I want to share a few lessons that I learned when I was shooting photos for Bootcamp Lagos in Portugal. Maybe you can then avoid the same mistakes that I made. First, on today's agenda, we have shutter speed. If you don't know what shutter speed is, it is basically how fast the shutter goes closed when you are taking a photo. And when it comes to shooting this type of high action sports, this means that how fast your camera can freeze the action. In sports photography and in any kind of photography where your subject is moving really fast, shutter speed is your ally, and I highly recommend using anything faster than 1/500 as your shutter speed. On a bright sunny day, you shouldn't be worried too much about your shutter speed because you will be ending up using really fast shutter speed anyways to get the exposure right. So using fast enough shutter guarantees that you are able to freeze the emotions and the movements of people. Especially in the sports, clear and crisp is the way to go, because this allows you to convey the emotion and intensity of the sports or the game you are shooting at. Next up, we have Aperture. I'd advise you to keep it anything between 2 and 3.2. Wider the aperture, the more light you are allowing to come into the sensor, and this allows you to have this nice blurry background and well-lit subject. At the end of the day, it's all about spotlighting the athlete rather than the person munching some candy or snacks at the background. Just bear in mind that if you go wider than 2.0, you have to be real careful about your focus because the depth of field will be so narrow. And if you are capturing more than one person, I would adjust my aperture something like 3.5 to 5, for example. That way you allow that all the persons you want to have in the frame will be tack sharp. And this brings us to the third lesson, which has to do with lens choice. In sports photography, zoom lenses are your secret weapon. They let you close in on the action and then step back without taking a single step. If you want to know my two one-and-done lenses for sports photography, they are 24-70 and 70-200. Zoom lenses gives you the flexibility to adapt to changing scenarios that is pretty often happening in the sports, which in turn the fixed focal length doesn't give you because you have to use your feet. In sports photography, it is really common that at first you are in the heart of the action and then you are capturing more like a panoramic view of the action and the situation. And if I'm completely honest, I just freaking love to use my 70-200 f2.8 in these kind of situations. The background compression that this lens produces is just insane. And this lens also allows me to be a little bit further away from action and I can still zoom in really close. Highly recommend at least lending and trying this lens. This is one of my all-time favorite lenses. I'm just currently using the 24-70 to record this video, so I cannot show it to you, but it's still there. And in turn, when I'm shooting video, I think 24-70 in this kind of situations is the best lens to go with. But that is completely different topic. I might even make another video of that. If you would like to see similar video about shooting video from sports, please let me know in the comments. Knowing these tips beforehand would have made my photoshoot for Bootcamp Lagos so much easier. I really hope that you find this helpful, because knowing these tips, you are already so much further away from the competition. There is one more tip that I want you to know, and if you nail this thing, you will elevate your photography game so much, and that is using light. If you learn how to properly use light, you will step up your photography game so much. On a sunny day, while it is beautiful, it can be super hard to nail exposure right and not to burn any details or skin tones. But if you know what you are doing, you can get some really cool shots. One super nice and artistic way is to backlight your subject. If you nail the exposure right in this type of photos, you will get this super cool silhouette style photo that will look amazing. And even better if you can use something to diffuse the light a little bit, maybe some leaves from the trees or clouds. I can guarantee that if you nail the exposure right and succeed in the editing, this will be a super cool photo. During the brightest hours of the day, this can be pretty tricky because the sunlight is so harsh, but I highly encourage you that try different things, because then when you take the photos to your editing software, you see that what works and what doesn't, and you learn the most in that way. Another good way to use light is to position your subject so that the sun is coming from 45-degree angle. It can be from the front or it can be from the back. This is one of the most commonly used lighting techniques in filmmaking and in photography. For example, now I have my key light 45-degree angle from me, facing towards me, and then I have my hair light from 45-degree angle behind me, facing towards me. This is really nice way to get some shadows to your subject, so there will be a little bit more contrast and separation from the background. When using the light, the trick is to experiment different things and finding the sweet spot where the light adds some drama to your shot rather than drowning your subject. Personally, I find the lighting to be one of the hardest yet most pleasing skills to learn in photography and filmmaking. If you know how to use light, you can transform almost every scene, every frame into cinematic and captivating scenario. Above all, I want to remind you that your art is your voice. Best shots usually are taken when you are enjoying the process and just being yourself. So do not let anyone to diminish the flame inside you that is making you create more. For example, when you are shooting photos of sports or weddings or whatever, there is always someone who doesn't like that you are shooting photos or filming them. But don't let that restrict you for creating the art you want to create. Just notice their concern politely and continue doing you. Just like athletes, we as photographers get better the more we practice. So let's go out there and make the shutter sing. That's all from me today. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and found these tips helpful. If you did, hit the thumbs up button for me. Consider subscribing also for more helpful tips and inspiration. I'll see you here next time.
Thank you.